All right, guys, so next step on the mirror right here is to go ahead and start mounting up our top bottom shelf. And we've got it all the way sanded up. We've got our project sitting here. We're gonna go over how to do this. Take a look at our packet. This is our shelf, letter H. And we're gonna screw it into the bottom. And if we take a look at our side detail right here, it goes flush on the back with our back piece of trim. So this is very similar to the first top piece of trim we put on. I'm gonna show you how to do it. First things first, we have our bottom of our mirror facing this way. We've gone through and checked and made sure that this area here was good and flush. On this particular project, somebody left it down a little bit, so we had to sand it a smidge. We're also going to confirm that when we put this piece of wood on here, that it fits nicely. Take a look, it does, no real gaps. We're going to take our piece. We're going to have the back side facing us. We're going to get an overall measurement, which is 22. Half of that was 11. I'm going to mark that right back here. I'm going to take this particular board right here and I'm going to figure out which side do I want to be my top and which side do I want to be my bottom. Well, when I put this on, we're only going to see the top side. We're not going to see the bottom side. It's going to be covered up, the majority of it anyhow. So I would take a look at this board. I'd say, you know what? I kind of don't like the way this looks. I got a little bit of a knot over here. Let's see if my other side's any better. Well, I still got a little bit of a knot. But look, I got a discoloration right here. I'm not really crazy about that. So I'm going to make this my bottom. Put a little B there. Bottom. I know this is going to get covered up, so I can leave that like that. Now, since we have our project with the top facing down, we're going to put this on so that our bottom faces up and the top faces down. We're going to go ahead and we're going to measure the overall length on this. It should be 24. Ready to hold and do it the way I would tell you to do it. Let's see here. So it should be 24. Mine happens to be 23 7/8. So I know that that's a 1/16 of an inch less than 12. Put our center line right here. Bingo was the same of. Have our bottom facing up. And at this point here, we can align up our center lines, and this will also stay flush on the outside edge over here and the outside edge over here. So I'm going to go grab a couple pistol clamps real quick. And we're going to line this up to the best of our ability. It's definitely easier to do with a partner. So when we put these clamps here on, we're not going to go super tight. Just gonna snug them up a smidge. That way we can maneuver it a little bit if we have to. I am right on my center. I'm looking really nice. Looking good there. I'm going to snug these up. Flush. Smidgen off of flush here. Loosen this. Beautiful. I'm going to double check my center. Outstanding. Now I know that the definite one spot that I want to put one of my screws is going to be in the center. And now I need to know, how far in am I going to come? Well, the board underneath this happens to be 3/4 of an inch thick. So the center of 3/4 is 3/8. So we're definitely going to be in 3/8. But since it happens to hang over that board by 1/4 of an inch, we need to take the 3/8 plus 1/4. So it's 3/8 plus 1/4, which is 2/8. So 3/8 plus 2/8 is 5/8. Take our square or ruler, measure 5/8. We're going to come right on down here. And if we measured in, we're going to want to put it about center right here. And center looks to be about 1 3/4 inches in. From our outside edge, measure 1 3/4 inches. Now you might say, hey, that's 2 3/4. Well, I started on the number 1, and I'm going to come in 5/8. Like I so. Cross here right there. We'll do the same thing down here. You guys can't see this. There's clamps in the way. Measure in 5/8. And we now have got our 3 holes, or 3 crosshairs where we're going to drill some holes. So we're going to go over to the drill press. I'm not actually going to videotape that, but we're going to go over the drill press and we're going to drill this with the same size hole that we did for our bottom. It's slightly larger than 1/8. I don't remember what I told you guys, but let's call it 1/8 of an inch bit. It's just enough for our screws to fit down through. And on this side here, remember here and over here, we are going to need to countersink those with a hand countersink so that the screw head fits just below the surface of the wood. And that's very important because we're going to cap this with another decorative piece on the bottom. So next time we cut into this, we're going to show you guys how to go ahead and mount this down. All right, successfully got these holes here drilled and countersunk so that the heads of our screws will fit down in them. We're going to use these 1 1/4 inch screws. In theory, this board is 3/4 of an inch, and these are only 1 1/4 inches, so only 1/2 of an inch is going to go down into this board here. We might get a little bit more than 1/2 of an inch if it's sitting slightly below the surface here. We could also probably use some 1.5 inch if we had some. I'm not digging for them. These would be plenty fine, and like I've always told you guys, the glue is what's holding it anyways. So I've got this nice and centered. I am flush back here. I am flush over here on this side. Okay, at this point here, we would be ready to go ahead and pre-drill our pilot holes for our screws. I'm going to be drilling with a 6D nail, and I want that 6D nail to be sticking out past here 1 1/4 inches. I'm only at 7/8 right now. I want to make sure I go at least the depth of that screw. That way we don't break it. And we're using drywall screws because they are cheap. We could use some construction screws or general purpose screws that are stronger. But this will also teach you a little bit of resistance and not going super crazy on those. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and drill these down through. Beautiful. Swimwear. All right, like I always tell you guys, you gotta go ahead and put this bad boy together dry first. That way there's no messy glue if we mess something up. I just realized that I grabbed a Torx bit. I'm gonna go grab a Phillips. All right, back in business. Here we go. Let's go. And we're gonna go nice and easy. Yeah, about 3 clicks would be plenty fine. We go any more than a few clicks, and we run the risk of breaking those drywall screws. All right, we got this bad boy together. Let's take a look at how she looks. I'm hoping that there's no real gap or nothing. Oh yeah, look at that. Let me see if this is in view. Shining like a diamond. What a beauty. All right. So now that we have our our top bottom shelf put on, I'll tell you what, this looks fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna take it apart, we're gonna put a little bit of glue on there, and we're gonna put it back together. Could we probably get away with just leaving these screws on? Sure. Could we maybe just have a 6-ounce filet mignon? Sure. But why have 6 ounces if you could have a 10-ounce? All right. So here we go. We're gonna put a little bit of this Tite Bond here down through. Clean that off. That way we have our best chance of success. We don't really need a lot of glue on this. I definitely don't want to have a whole bunch where it's all over the place either. Now here's the best part about this right here. Take these bad boys, and he's going to find that hole that we already had started. Beautiful. Now if I wanted to, I could clamp it back down. We really don't need to, because those holes are already in there. It was fine. All right, let's take a look, see if we've got any glue that came out on the back side. Sure did, smidgen. Let's check our front side. Just a little bit. So we're gonna take this bad boy right here, run it down through there. Remember, we are wiping the glue off for you, not for me. I don't really care if you leave it on there. You're gonna have to sand it out if you do. You may as well take it out and off while you can. Remember, sometimes I'll tell you guys to grab a like a little flathead screwdriver or something, some sort of a slight straight edge. I just happen to be using my knife. I'm just cleaning that little bit of glue that might be in there out. Give her one more wipe. Remember, every time I run this down through, I switch it over. That way I'm not wiping the glue all over it. The point is to get the glue off, not spread it. And remember, the purpose of the wetness of the paper towel is, since we are using water-based glue, that will thin down. We got a little bit of glue in this corner right here. That will thin down the actual glue itself, allowing us to remove it. If we were using a polyurethane glue, we would have to just leave it, and we'd have to sand it out later. Polyurethane glue sands out pretty easy. I prefer just to use the water-based glue and wipe it off on this type of a scenario right here. Let's take a look again. What a beaut. She's a beaut, Clark. All right, so one more decorative piece that goes underneath this bad boy here. And then after that, we're gonna go ahead and show you guys how to put in this interior trim. We are moving and grooving, shake and bake.